I'm Eytan Shander with Awesemo. We have 3 plays heading into the weekend on this Friday night NBA slate on Yahoo. But before we give you that, click on the links below. When you sign up to Yahoo, you're going to get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Our first play on the slate is Giannis. And look, it's a Giannis slate, so we always have to factor that in here. He is a game-time decision technically, but he will play through that right quad. And when we look at the slate overall, the pay-up option with Harden, Durant kind of lurking here. They come off a planned rest night on Wednesday. Still have Jason Tatum, who's isolated outside of not having Jaylen Brown there. And then the trio that is the LA Lakers, where there's always some sort of productivity. You could make a push as far as a pivot for Trae Young on the slate, saving yourself $16. But if you are paying up for anybody, it's against Houston. His ability, Giannis, to do some damage, even in limited action. 3.5 quarters of work, not necessary here for Giannis to put up a big night on the return. And even if you look at what he's been able to do, granted, dealing with injury here, the minutes are always going to be there from a floor of somewhere around, that 27 to 28. And then the damage that can be done is simply about game flow. So we've seen him be able to put up even 45 to 48 points in any given night, given only 27 minutes to do so. The expectation of a ceiling here could be 35, 36 minutes and a 65 to 70 point night. So yes, he's on the slate a lot. And yes, we go to him for a reason, because if you are paying up for somebody, then he's a fantastic option, even though he is the number 1 cost guy to roster on the slate. So let's look for a couple of middle and maybe even a lower cost option. And we go to the same position here, the guard spot, and the same game. Both Boston and Phoenix dealing with injury. So let's jump on that. Let's start with Boston. Mentioned no Brown. So a lot of the productivity, the volume, just the ask goes with Jason Tatum. He's $44. If you wanted a cheaper option, it's Dennis Schroder. Now, look, Dennis Schroder is going to be the only other guy that is going to have the consistent amount of looks and volume to take over some of the slack left from Brown's absence. So even at $23 becomes very appealing when you look at Schroder versus the rest of the slate here. And we'll talk about no Devin Booker on the other side in a second for Phoenix, but $23 still cheaper than Drew Holiday, cheaper than Van Vliet, even Chris Paul at that $35 range, SGA also at that $35 range. This is a great pivot both on the slate and really in this game here away from Jason Tatum. Expect Schroder to have a ton of options on that perimeter, especially without having to go back and forth in pace with only Chris Paul now, not Devin Booker. Now, speaking of no Booker, that's our third play. It's Cameron Payne. You want a punt option. He's $10. The last guy, if you scroll all the way down, but there's no Devin Booker, we know, against the Boston Celtics. And we're also guaranteed some minutes here. A little bit of a setback the last game against San Antonio, but before that, as we've seen 3 straight games now without Devin Booker, 21, 25, the 17, a little bit concerning, but still able to put up at least the same amount of fantasy points in 8 less minutes. So the productivity is there for Cam Payne, and I think if you're going to take advantage of a matchup against Boston without Devin Booker, and you're looking for somebody other than Chris Paul, who, to his credit, has been able to pick up some slack, Cameron Payne at the bottom of this list as a $10 punt becomes super appealing. And not only will you save some money, but you're guaranteed a floor somewhere in that low 20 minutes range against Boston, where even so, the blowout factor, I think, comes into effect here for Phoenix, where that could bump up Payne's minutes. But even without that, no Booker is going to elevate the amount of times that we'll see Payne tonight on the floor. So let's run it back for you. Giannis right there at the top. Our $23 option at the point, Dennis Schroder. And then we have Cameron Payne as a punt for the guard position. Those are your 3 for Friday night NBA Yahoo. But before you do anything, click that link below, and you're going to get 1 free month when you sign up upon your first paid contest entry of Awesemo Plus Platinum. I'm Eytan Shander for Awesemo. Have a great night.